Sharpen your pencils, it's time for FYI Study Station. 1 week from now, Leaving Cert students will be sitting down to the first exam, that's English. We've been getting some last-minute do's and don'ts from an expert.
Well, the key thing at this stage is quotation in paper 2, and one of the things I advise students to do is get the little white cards and literally make the charts on the wall wherever they spend the time, around the desk, around the mirror, and looking at the poetry quotes, the Hamlet quotes, maybe a couple of quotes for comparative, and key points for essays. I think the more they look at them, the better it is at this stage of the year. In the first paper, they've about 2 hours, 50 minutes, and there's enough time there to manage language and control language well and to plan. One of the things I advise students to do when they get into the exam is actually to write on the cover of the paper, you know, when you're starting each section and when you're finishing it, so you don't have that moment during the exam where you're having to check back against the clock and work that information out. Paper 2 is different. The students are looking at a really long exam. It's 3 hours, 20 minutes. And you're looking at about an hour there to do your single text question. About 10 minutes of that should go for planning. Then you're moving into comparative, maybe about an hour and 5 minutes. About 20 minutes for the unseen poetry, which leaves about 50 minutes at the end for poetry. So it's a slog of a paper, and one of the most crucial points for students is not to go over time on any one section. It's really important to look at the quotations in paper 1 as a platform to launch yourself into language of argument. It's not just the case of kind of throwing on the paper everything you know. Keep thinking about that question and keep adapting the information that the students have to the question. If we're looking at the marking scheme in the paper, it's PC, L and M, the purpose, answering the question, the coherence, good structure, and making sure that you finish the topic at hand. And then the L is the language category. So for students to express themselves with coherence, with clarity, short sentences, but a nice sense of expression in the language and a good use of vocabulary. You do know the stuff. You have the skill set. So to instead of constantly sweating in terms of like what does the examiner want, to be confident in going into the exam that you're going to present a full repertoire of your work, of yourself, and not be afraid to put some of their own personality into the paper.